Sometimes you end up asking yourself the question, what would it be like if this was made back then? The reason I say this is because this game answers the question, what would it be like if there was a horror game made for the NES and it wasn't Friday the 13th? Goodnight Butcher sells itself as being an arcade-style horror experience with an isolated, heart-pounding atmosphere. I stumbled onto this, believe it or not, from a Rely on Horror article and thought, let's give it a look. And how was it, you ask? Well... story-wise, there isn't one really. Not that it doesn't try. It's about an employee at the Happy Knife Butchery getting the meat ready for the next day for business, only for strange apparitions to stalk him while he works, and all the while you're treated to newspaper articles referring to a string of murders. While the attempted storytelling does give context, and its attempt at painting something bigger in the shadows is admirable, it's ultimately all for naught thanks to the limitations placed on it by how the game plays. Control is handled exclusively by the keyboard, and all you can do is walk with the arrow keys, run with the S key, and interact with the spacebar. These do work despite some awkwardness at first, but it's not something you can't get used to as you go around Happy Knife getting meat ready, which is the aim of the game. I read in the Rely on Horror article that Goodnight Butcher's meat processing steps are 100% accurate, and if that's true, I'm actually surprised there aren't more butcher-related suicides. Because this game can get annoying. This is all you do. Collect a carcass, take it to the sort room, dump the bones, cut the steak, grind the burgers, grind the sausages, put it all on display, all the while avoiding Slenderman-style demons or trapdoor spider-style demons hiding in the vents. The repetition can get real annoying real quickly, especially when room teleports become a factor. And it's possible to use the repetition to circumvent some of the game's challenges by stocking up. Now this isn't to say the game can't be tense, it does nail its atmosphere. To a point. Enemy presence is clued to the player via sound cues, and these plus the ambient sounds can put you in a position where you're waiting in fear for a big scare, only for it to never arrive. Thanks to how the game plays, you never really experience anything on PT or Machine for Pigs level of fear, and you only ever experience clearly visible jump scares, meaning that the atmosphere just ends up being nothing more than a giant cock tease for something that isn't actually there. There's also an unlockable Nightmare Challenge mode, but I'm not going to touch on it as it's really just repeating the stuff from the main mode, only now with a time limit and a higher difficulty. At the end of the day, Goodnight Butcher is a good idea marred by how it wants to be presented, but it isn't a bad first effort horror game. And like Gynophobia, I hope its developer Perfect Square Studios uses their experience from making Goodnight Butcher to make something better and more fulfilling in the future. If you're interested like I was, it's available on Steam for PC and only costs $2, and at that price, it's no sweet, supple meat off your pearly white bones.